I will talk like this through the entire podcast. I've brushed my teeth, waxed my mustache, and now I'm ready for professionalism.
You know what I love about that voice? I don't know. It doesn't have the southern twang to it, but it does remind me of the announcer voice when you watch Jurassic Park and they're going, "The dinosaurs!" in the ride.
A lot of our DNA was resequenced using frog DNA. Basically, all of our pets are made up and silly.
Hello! Oh, hello. Welcome back to another fabulous show. My name is Kelly Wright.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week, although we did take last week off. I was in kind of a funk. I apologize for that. Now my funk is almost dispelled.
So you've defunkified. I'm so glad to hear that. I hate getting into funks. I have gone through many funks through this whole quarantine pandemic coronavirus kind of thing, and it's been interesting to delve into scary to look into the void, scary to look into that to find out what's going on in there. So I'm glad you're coming out.
I mean, it's a lot of people are going to hold this against me and say that I don't really deserve to have a condo in Hawaii, and that's fair. I know I'm cheating against the world, but the thing that happened to me last week was I just suddenly decided that I couldn't afford it, and more specifically that I had been making so many compromises to get what I thought I wanted, that I wasn't getting what I thought I wanted anymore, and it all just sort of hit me real fast. We did an inspection of this place that I was so excited about, and we found that it needed a lot of plumbing work. Like, as soon as I walked in the door, the inspector pointed at the kitchen sink and said, "Don't touch that," and I was like, "This is gonna go well." So, in an effort to just barely limbo under my price threshold, I was about to acquire another $10,000 worth of move-in expenses, and I was just like, all right, never mind. You know, this place is already not exactly what I want, but it's kind of what I can get, and now this, and so screw it. And, of course, the contract said if I didn't like the inspection, the deal was off, so I was like, fine, the deal's off. And I packed up my things and came home and decided to be happy with the two houses I already have.
Well, you know what? First of all, don't feel guilty because in regards to looking for a vacation condo, you have worked your ass off your entire life to get there. So there's no reason for feeling guilty
that
about
may be
working
true,
your ass off.
but flapping your arms doesn't make you a chicken. I haven't exactly earned much with all that work.
Well, you know, we keep striving. We keep there are things that we all strive for and that we all work for to achieve, and some have it harder than others. That's, I think, just the game of life. And I wish, don't beat yourself up because you're working towards.
That's what I should say to the conventioneer who comes up to me and says, "What makes you think you deserve a condo in Hawaii?" I'll say, "Some of us just have it harder than others."
No. For the
Perfect response. Thank you, Kelly. You brought me back to earth.
For the snarky response, absolutely. Some of us just have it
God.
harder than others. However, don't feel guilty about that. I mean, you know, it's just a numbers game is basically what it is. So, you know, as far as if you were going to put $10,000 worth into plumbing, sock that $10,000 away and have 3-4 great vacations, long stints in Hawaii.
I'll have one mind-bending experience in Las Vegas. That's what I'll do.
Okay, great.
I'll go
Perfect.
bend my mind.
Perfect. Even better. You know, James,
like,
when you go take that vacation, some of us do have it harder than others.
Yes, that's what I'll be telling the croupier. I'll put another 10,000 on red, please, and just to remind everyone else at this table, some of us have it harder than others.
Oh, so shitty plumbing. It didn't go as planned. Out of the entire experience, were you able to, you know, at least, you know, enjoy the weather, the beach, the water?
It's interesting because I was there for one singular purpose, because I was there to buy this condo, and I put a lot of work into that. I wound up not doing a lot of vacation stuff, but my friends, yourself included, kept reminding me, don't forget, you also have to do vacation stuff. So, no, I didn't. I did on the very last day go to the beach, and this was like my third trip to the beach. It wasn't the only trip, but it was by far the worst, and it was because I went during a different time of day. I wasn't expecting the tide to be a lot lower, and so the same beach that I had been swimming at, suddenly I couldn't get like below waist deep in this water. Like I went out farther and farther, and it was still just like waist deep and rocky, and I was like trying not to be carried away by the current. And it was just a weird day, and the sun was beating down on me. So yeah, I went to the beach, and it was horrible.
Oh, oh, I'm so
But to
sorry
be
your beach
fair, some of us just
experience.
have it harder than
So
others.
it's true. Some of us do have it harder than others, especially at the beach when the tide is weird and the moon is strange and the light is low and the sun is strong. It's hard. It's so hard.
Yeah,
So safe flight back, quiet flight back, not a problem.
I took a red eye back. I came home kind of once I had decided that I had failed this project. I rebooked my return flight super just as soon as I could, and so I got a red eye back the next night, and that was not fun. Believe me. I tried to sleep in a seated position for like 6 hours and basically
Oh,
failed. Ugh.
oh,
Oh.
oh,
But
oh.
here's what I told my seatmate. Some people just have it
Have
harder
it harder.
than others. It's like at the end of Dangerous Liaisons when Malkovich is like, it's beyond my control. I just
It's
kept
beyond
looking
my
to my
control.
seatmate. It's beyond my control, and then I would try to sleep, and I would keep saying to her, it's beyond my control, but she was asleep for the whole thing, so it was basically just me
Oh,
there.
got it. We are approaching a heat wave here in Western Washington. Are you prepared? Are you ready for this?
My basement is still cold. I honestly, I plan to drive through this heat wave, as dumb as that sounds, a couple of weeks from now. Hopefully it will have remitted by then, but I still have a plan to drive a load of boxes and furnitures and stuff down to Las Vegas, and although it's no longer time critical since the Hawaii thing isn't happening, I'm still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Carol and I will be renting a car in the second week of July and driving some
Oh,
boxes down to Vegas. Hopefully it won't be as heat wavy as it is now, but no, I'm not aware of any heat wave because I still work in my basement where it's chilly cold all day and all night.
yes. Yes, the basement here in our place is pretty temperature stable. However, just before I came down to the dungeon to record, my husband mentioned that there's a heat bubble, a temperature, a high pressure bubble, something like that, that is coming over the area, and so we expect temperatures into the high 80s, low 90s for a week or so. So we are going to get our AC unit set up in our bedroom because while during the day with the fans and everything, the place is pretty comfortable. It's just heat rises, and we have cathedral ceilings. It's a narrow townhome. All the heat comes up into the bedroom, so the bedrooms are usually about 90 degrees, 95 degrees at night. So we need
You
AC
know what
in
they
there to
call that
sleep.
in Las Vegas?
What's that?
Wintry.
Okay. I was looking at speaking of Vegas, I was looking at the Twitter feed from Las Vegas Tourism Group, and there was a fire down there near Circus Circus, and I was trying to find out what the fire was, and it seems to be like it was new construction or some construction that was happening. So I didn't know if you had your thumb on the pulse
Not
of
at
what was
all.
burning down there.
Interestingly, my Hawaii real estate agent was in Vegas this week, might still be there, checking on properties. I guess when you're a real estate agent, you can have as many properties as you want. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, that sounds pretty good. I should learn those rules. But no, I haven't been in any way paying attention to the Las Vegas news. So that if I had to guess, the construction that's going on near Circus Circus, I think might be the rebuilding of the Riviera. They were gutting that place last year, and I assume they're
Ah,
building it again. But there's a lot of projects down there. I
well,
think
sure.
Vegas knows that it's coming back to life this year, and they're still trudging along like commerce is real.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how Vegas does come back because I think people are so starved for it that I think it's going to swing real aggressive the other way with huge crowds and
I
gouging prices, and they're
I
going to be
think
like
that
premium and what is it? What do they call them? Price surges, surge pricing, something? I don't
surge
know what the
pricing
word
is
is.
what they call it on the what do you call it, the phonicabs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever come back from let's say San Francisco, though where you're coming back from is irrelevant, and try to get a ride from the airport on a holiday evening
Yes,
recently?
where it's
Because
super
surge
expensive. Yeah.
surge pricing is right, just a knife right in your heart.
Oh yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
It's like,
think
oh,
I
you
would have
need to
rather
go
walked
somewhere.
home.
Yeah, you need to go somewhere and you're stuck. So we are going to charge you this much now, and you are going to pay it or not. And so
I
you're like,
wound up, this was a
fuck.
couple years ago, but I wound up getting to the airport late, which meant that my plan to take the light rail failed because the light rail had closed. And then the non-specific dial-a-cab options were in the stratosphere, and I wound up like renting a limo because those prices are fixed, and it was the
Yeah.
cheapest way to get home. Like, all right,
Right.
well, aren't I
Show up,
important?
show up in style. Hey. You got the running lights. You got the the bar set in there that there's nothing to drink in there. Or sometimes the driver will go, "Would you like a Diet Pepsi?" And you're like, "Yes, thank you." And so yes, so I've done the limo thing before when the prices have been too ridiculously expensive. Um, so now that you're back here and Hawaii is off the table in regards to property, uh,
It's dead to me. The islands are dead to me now.
it's
I'll never
dead.
speak to them
Okay,
again.
okay, it's dead to you. All right, I'm sure
No,
you'll still
it's
vacation there. You'll
weird
go.
because whenever you have a nasty breakup, uh, things remind you of it. And I've spent the last like 2 years like doing little Hawaii things, like decorating my Animal Crossing island and this and that. And so every time I encounter one of those, I have to reprogram and be like, I'm not doing that anymore. It used to make me happy. Suddenly now it doesn't, and I'm just going to work through that. So yeah, a lot of that's going on. But practical reality is I had a return ticket booked on an
Yes.
airline that is not my usual airline, and so they're not good friends with me like my usual airline is.
Okay.
So I couldn't get a refund for that ticket. I still have a ticket to fly from Las Vegas to Honolulu, and I can reschedule it for free. I just can't cancel it. So I
Right.
rescheduled it for my birthday, thinking by then perhaps we'll be on the mend.
By then, the wounds will have closed, the anger will have subsided, and sure, I will go and have a refreshing tropical drink for
Right.
your birthday. Yes.
Right. I don't do a lot of touristy things by myself. I need a friend to go with, so I'm taking my
Well,
family,
sure.
and we'll all go have a tropical drink. Right now in Honolulu, things are still kind of closed. Like all of the
Yeah.
public sit places are blocked off. You can't really like just be there. You kind of have to go to a restaurant and be in a crowded space, or go to the beach where you can sit on the ground, or just stay in your house. So it's not quite open yet either. That's another reason I didn't do a lot of touristy things. But a lot of it really was, hey, there's a restaurant I'd like to go to. By myself? Nah.
Yeah. No. No, it's better with friends. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yesterday, I had a lovely afternoon with friends. Speaking of doing things with friends, there is a park on Lake Washington. It is it's privately owned park, so there's an admissions fee, but you can spend all day there. It's like a $5 admissions fee, and it's called Vasa Park. It's at the southern end of Lake Washington. It's a great
Vasa
setting.
Park, after the famous tall ship that capsized on its first day at sea.
Yes. I don't know that story. What are you telling me?
Oh, it's quite simple. A famous tall ship capsized on its first day at sea. The Vasa
Vasa?
is a real famous wooden ship because it did, in fact, they had such a big party on launch day and it wasn't ballasted correctly, so it just went foop and was
Oh,
in the mud, right? And it was in the mud for like 100 years, 200 years, and they finally took it out and put it in a museum, and it's in perfect condition. Just this brand new, as it were, still in the mud warship. But yeah, check it
interesting.
out. Anyway, so Vasa Park. I've cut
Anyway,
your story off with my story.
That's
Go,
okay.
go on.
Vasa Park is a great little area for those as far as if they're looking to, because there's an area for like trailers and for tent camping. I mean, it's a couple of acres that are located on the lakefront, and then there's picnic areas, and they have there's a tiny little like food kind of court thing. You can get iced coffee. And bring a cooler and have a barbecue. It's a good little place to spend an afternoon if you just want to spend some time on the water, right? But yesterday was the Midsummer Festival, which was great. So they had a bunch of Norwegian Viking role players there. There was a beer garden, so we had some good Norwegian beer, and we just sat with friends in the sun and talked and laughed. And we got flower crowns to celebrate Midsummer, and it was just lovely. And it was really lovely to be outside again and experiencing that part of summer, which just wasn't available last year. And I forgot how enjoyable it was.
Yeah,
And
that
it
sounds
was,
really nice. I used to go to the Ren Fair, which sounds sort of similar to that.
mm-hmm.
Down in I don't know, Washington. I forget
It's
exactly where.
Carnation, isn't it? Is it Carnation?
No, Carnation is the Camlin Medieval Fair. And there's also a Renaissance
Right.
Fair in another place. whatever. Washington
Anyway, it's near
Midsummer Fair.
it's near Tacoma, right? It's near Tacoma.
Yeah, yeah, my wife used to work that show. I've been there several times, and it's a thing we miss. It's a thing we'd like to do again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So it was lovely. It was just a really good reminder as far as things are starting to loosen up again. It's nice to get together. It was nice to see people smiling and sitting around and just enjoying family. And there were many generational families who were enjoying themselves with people bringing their fiddles and guitars and singing. So it was just really quite lovely. Would you like to
I'm
take a
looking
break?
up this fair
Oh, okay.
because
Because
I
I've been
finally
to the
figured out
Camlin. I've been to
that
the Carnation one, the Camlin one, where they have the medieval restaurant where it recreates food.
yeah, the restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, his restaurant's amazing. So I worked Camlin when I was a child. When I first moved to Seattle in '89, I was a juggler at Camlin for many many years, and
Mm-hmm.
but before they had built the restaurant. But I have dined there since then, and yeah, they serve this like well, at that time served like a bread trencher, a bread plate with like ground beef and strawberries and nuts. It's
Mm-hmm.
a weirdest dish, but it's really
It
good.
is, but I bought the cookbook from there to recreate the recipes that were cooked in the 13th and the 14th centuries. And many of the ingredients, it's interesting. There's not a lot of, as far as wheat flour, it's a lot of almond flour, which I was really
Yeah,
surprised about.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting to recreate the recipes from that time. So I haven't eaten a meal at the restaurant, but I've always wanted to. So I will have to
Well,
do
the
it now
one I
that
was
things are
talking
opening
about
up.
is the Washington Midsummer Renaissance Fair, which runs in August, and it's in Bonnie Lake. And the
That's
reason
where
that
it
I
is. Okay.
forgot that name is I've been doing a lot of world building, especially this afternoon. Sat out on my porch, wrote an entire like war, basically. Um, and as I invent new people and places in my own little fantasy world, they seem to be nudging out reality. So that's why Bonnie Lake. Oh, that sounds familiar, but I couldn't bring it to mind because I was too busy
Oh,
making up new stuff.
yeah, I believe that fair is back on track again. So I believe
I
that they will
think
be.
they are on.
Yeah.
We
Yep.
are still on the debates. First of all, uh, because we slash part of us has worked there in the past, there is always politics, and so that's part of what prevents us from just going and enjoying it. Um,
Still, years later, still.
but there's also just is COVID done with us yet or not? And that hangs heavy in the air. I think we won't decide for sure until we get there. But like Carol has basically told me that her group is not going as a group because whatever.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
whatever. That's fine. Let's go
Whatever.
anyway and get a turkey leg and enjoy ourselves.
Just go in and enjoy it as non-working fair guests. I mean, that's always a great perspective that you are able to enjoy just being there. You don't have to, you don't have to
You
be.
express my opinion eloquently.
I know you don't have to be at the Shakespeare stage at 2:30, and you don't have to be at the jousting field at 4. And it's like no, just go and enjoy it. I mean, politics aside, really, years later, really, is this high school? Really?
Yes, as
Okay.
recently been made acutely aware to me, we are all still in high school.
Oh God, God, I gotta take a break. I can't. This episode of Here All Week is brought to you by Fake Estate, your home in the cloud.
Hey Kelly, I'm looking for an investment that's as valuable as a vacation home but doesn't really exist.
Take a look at Fake Estate from Brazilian Prime. It's not real, it's Fake Estate.
Fake estate? I thought all estate was real.
Not anymore. Today's markets are dominated by virtual things like cryptocurrency and non-fungible tokens. Unreal things get more popular every day.
Sounds like it's time to diversify my investments with fake estate.
Now you're talking. Fake Estate offers virtual living at its finest with all the joys of owning a home, but in cyberspace.
How does it work?
You can buy and sell our NFCs, non-functional condominiums, just like actual real estate.
What's an NFC?
Put simply, an NFC is a blockchain-based virtual facsimile. God, I love this script. It's chewy as hell. Put simply, an NFC is a blockchain-based virtual facsimile. This is good for the video. Okay. Facsimile. Put
I
simply,
gave you all the hard lines this week because I wasn't
no,
feeling it.
Really, I noticed. Put simply, God, facsimile. Here's a trick I learned with voiceover. Facsimile. Flip your tongue and say it. Put simply, an NFC is a blockchain-based virtual facsimile of freehold property that you can buy, sell, and even rent, just like the real thing.
Can I live there?
No, of course not. But NFCs share many advantages with real estate, including utility bills, monthly association fees, and breathtaking views of the cloud.
Wait, how are monthly bills an advantage?
In 1781, Alexander Hamilton proved that establishing a national debt would give the emerging United States more credibility in global markets.
Yeah?
By the same logic, the pioneers at Brazilian Prime believe your monthly expenses lend credibility and value to your non-functional condo.
That makes perfect sense. Now, explain again how blockchain works.
And that's just the beginning. Our NFCs... God. I was reading this through before we did this, and that part cracked me up. Now, explain how this works, and I just railroad over you. That's what I love about it. And that's just the beginning. Our NFCs also deliver simulated water damage, virtual termite infestations, and even crypto burglaries. God! James. And that's just the beginning. Our NFCs also deliver simulated water damage, virtual termite infestations, and even crypto burglaries. It all contributes to their unbelievable value.
Cool, I guess. What sorts of NFCs can I choose from?
Brazilian Prime offers a wide variety of fake estate with options to fit every budget, from postage stamp ground floor rat traps to skyscraping vampire rock star penthouses.
Are they cheaper than the real thing?
Hardly. Fake estate is one of the fastest growing markets in crypto. Many of our NFCs sell for even more than their real world counterparts.
Wait, so each NFC has a real world analog?
That's right. Your virtual condo comes with a unique identifier, or key, which corresponds to a real apartment or condo somewhere in the world.
What does that key do?
It proves, through the magic of large numbers, that no one else can own the virtual home you've chosen. Your NFC is tracked by a unique prime number with 1 million digits, and your monthly fees help us pay for Brazilian server farms that keep the whole thing going.
That's amazing. Will NFCs ever lose their value?
Nothing in this world is guaranteed, my friend. Do you get up in the morning? Do you cross the street? Do you use a razor? Yes, I thought so.
Okay, but...
Look, all I can tell you is as long as there are trees in Brazil, there will always be more prime numbers.
Sounds great. There's still a lot of trees, right?
So step into a virtual new world of luxury living today with Fake Estate from Brazilian Prime.
Fake Estate, your home in the cloud.
They also do virtual steaks.
I would love to get a non-functional steak.
How many trees are there, James?
There's
How
still a
many
few left,
trees?
sweetheart. Everything's gonna be just fine. It reminds me of the oh wow, everything has been pushed out of my brain. I cannot words today. What is it that's like The Simpsons only in the future? Futurama. There we go.
Futurama.
It even has future in
Futurama.
the title. There was one episode where they're teaching about global warming, and their solution is just to drop a bigger and bigger ice cube in the Pacific every year. It's like, and well, is there going to be a time when that doesn't work? No, it's fine. Just keep doing it.
I do not think this means what you think it means. this word, I do not think it means.
Well, Kelly, I've got
so-
some trivia for you if you're ready.
Oh, are you defunkified enough to trivialize with me?
In celebration of Father's Day, Here All Week presents these 7 trivial questions related to famous fathers. Are you ready to begin?
I am ready, James. You may fire when ready.
Question 1. In the 1970 film MASH, this man of the cloth was played by René Auberjonois. The same role was filled by William Christopher for most of the television series. Can you name
That would
this
be-
famous father?
Father Mulcahy.
Father Mulcahy here, or Father John, is correct. His full name was changed from John Patrick Francis Mulcahy to Francis John Patrick Mulcahy for continuity purposes. He was also known in the film as Dago Red.
Oh, okay.
Question number 2.
Yes.
Portrayed by comedian Don Novello, this heavily accented chain-smoking Vatican priest was a featured cameo in many early seasons of Saturday Night Live.
That would be Father Guido Sarducci.
Father Guido Sarducci was invented by Novello in 1970 and made several appearances on Laugh-In, The Smothers Brothers, and Weekend Update segments on SNL. Correct.
Yes.
Question number 3.
Yes.
Also known as the All-Father, this famous Norse god lent his name to Wednesday.
Oh, I should know this. I keep thinking Odin. It's not.
Odin is correct.
Is it? Why, how is
Odin,
that Wednesday?
In Germanic, Odin is Woden. In fact,
that's why. Okay.
6 of our weekdays come from Germanic variations of Norse gods: Sona, Mani, Tyr, Wotan, Thor, and Freya, the wife of Odin. Only Saturday keeps its Roman name after the god Saturn. Apparently, the Germans didn't have a word for Saturday.
Okay, they just called it that day.
Question number. Yeah, we're done. We're done. Oh my God! Take a break. Stop naming things.
Let's meet the day after Freya. Okay.
It's like when they named the vitamins, they were like A, B. Oh, slow down. Okay, B1, B2, and then after E, they're just like, screw it. I don't think we need any more of these.
C, D. Okay, forget it. We're not doing F, G, H,
Forget
I,
it.
J, K. K. we
Yeah,
got vitamin
yeah,
K.
vitamin K. That's potassium. Now we're on the same page.
Because K is for potassium.
Because there's no K in potassium. Okay, well, anyway, clearly this is another translation issue. Question number 4. This 1950 Spencer Tracy comedy with Joan Bennett and Elizabeth Taylor was remade in 1991 with Steve Martin in the title role.
Father knows best.
No, this is Father of the
Father
Bride.
of the Bride. Father of the Bride.
Also appearing in the remake were Diane Keaton and Martin Short with stunt choreography by Yen Wu Ping. Just kidding. Number 5. Just one.
Stunt choreography. What?
Just kidding. Just one. Question number 5. Just one of the avalanche of truly creepy love songs from the 1980s. This 1987 George Michael chart topper was the 4th single from his debut solo album, Faith.
I will be your father figure. Put your
Father
tiny
figure is
hand
correct,
in mine.
and it does in fact include the phrase "Put your tiny hand in mine." The song
I
was also
will be
featured.
the one who loves you till the end of time.
And it was featured in the pivotal fight scene in the 2017 Charlize Theron action film Atomic Blonde. Question number 6.
Yes.
This American sitcom, starring Josh Radnor as the father, ran from 2005 to 2014. The show's framing device is a flashback starting in 2030, narrated by an uncredited Bob Saget.
I have no idea.
No idea?
I don't know. No.
Name of the show is How I Met Your Mother.
Never watched an episode ever.
Me neither. I wasn't even sure how to say Josh Radnor. I had to look it up on the internet. How I Met Your Mother was nominated for 30 Emmy Awards, winning 10. However, the mother doesn't appear in the show until the last episode of season 8, and we don't learn her name until the final episode of the show. And now question 7.
Yes.
Gird yourself for this.
Girding my loins.
This famous, fictional deadbeat dad searched the galaxy for his long-lost son, only to battle him in a floating gas mine and slice off his right hand.
That would be Lord Vader, Darth
That would
Vader.
be Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker, a central
Yes.
figure in the cult favorite 1970s space opera film Star Wars. A few people were unsurprised that Vader is Luke's father, since Vader literally means father in Dutch.
Ah, that's a little bit of really obvious foreshadowing.
Right. A little bit of really lazy naming, which takes place all over the Star Wars galaxy.
James.
I think Hoth was originally called Snow.
Snow.
I don't know.
You know, as far as we always do the recall of the scene on Hoth where they're out riding tauntauns and, you know, they collapse and they're going to be caught out for the night and Han has to cut the tauntaun to shove Luke inside, right? So whenever the puppies are on me, that's always the one saying is, I love you so much, I want to wear you like a tauntaun. So it just cracks us up.
Have you seen
so
that they manufacture a Tauntaun sleeping bag?
I have. I think that's awesome. They have the
It's
Tauntaun
adorable.
sleeping bag, and then they have the Jaws sleeping bag, so it looks like you're being eaten by a shark, which I also think is great. You can be your very own little Quint at your sleeping bar, you know, your birthday party.
I hope that the interior of the Jaws sleeping bag has like license plates and old inner tubes and stuff.
Oh,
just
inner tubes
painted all
and
over
fish
it.
and yeah. I don't want to see that Kinder kid spilled all over the dock. um, so what you got coming up this week, my friend?
Well, this week I have determined, strangely, a good news is bad news kind of situation. I've determined that there is a card game I've been sitting on for years that I'm finally not going to wait any longer to sit on. It was done for a publisher who basically doesn't want it. And if you look at the card games on Crab Fragment, you'll see I have a 3-suited deck, I have a 6-suited deck. Of course, there's no reason to make another 4-suited deck. But where's the 5-suited deck? That's actually this game. It's been hiding for a long time. And it has bunches of good trick-taking games that come along with it, which I have been aching to show to the public for these years. So that's what's going on this week. The backstory that I wrote this morning about sort of a farmer's war is part of designing the face cards that go in this game so that I can do custom art and release this deck later in the summer.
Okay. May I ask you what your 5th suit is?
Well, they're all 5 of them are different suits. It's just it's a differently structured deck.
Okay. So you
the
veered
ch-
away from the classical clubs, hearts, diamonds, spades.
Well, sure, except if you go back far enough into classicity, you find that those aren't standard at all. In fact, the oldest complete playing card deck that we have on record now from the 1500s has 4 different shapes that all have to do with hunting. They're nothing to do with diamonds and clubs. And so anyway, the 5-suited deck is interesting because it is what I've done with it is write a bunch of trick-taking games. Trick-taking is very well situated in a 4-suited deck. Adding a 5th suit means there's fewer trump cards, and that would make it harder to actually make a game like this. But I've come up with all kinds of clever ways to make those games even better, and I've been itching to share them with the world, and this is my chance to do that. So that's my project for this week. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we will make sure that we have a link to Crab Fragment Labs, on the game page, your game section on our page where our podcast is shown. Hey, folks, we do this podcast also in video, and we do have a YouTube channel. I will include that link as well. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. It is always a good time when you spend, on average, 35 minutes with us. There's something you learn every day. Like, some of us have it harder than others. Isn't that true?
Some of us, that's right. Hey, how come you get to cross the street wherever you want? Well, buddy, some of us just have it harder than others.
Anyway, if you have comments for the show, questions, even just to say, hey, I'm out here listening, always send us an email. You can comment on the podcast link right below. We appreciate our dirty dozens listening. Let's see. Be kind to yourself, your family, your friends, your community. We are still going through it. My name is Kelly Wright.
And I'm James Ernest, and we're here all week.